Hey, good afternoon. This is Dr. Wells, and this is another edition of The Word with Wells. So this morning, or this afternoon, I want to chat a little bit about grudges, holding grudges. I saw a post from a goddaughter of mine that mentioned she wasn't holding any grudges with anyone, not in this day and time when things are so sensitive and volatile, and people are losing their lives and people are sick and just looking to let stuff go, right? And that's probably one of the most important secrets to living healthy and happy, is the ability to learn how to let things go, how to let hurt go, how to let people go, right? And it's not easy. I don't intend to imply that you should just, you can just easily do that. It's easier for some than others. Some things you think you let go, but then something happens, something is said, something is done. You hear a song, you see a post, you see that person, you hear of their success, you hear of their failure, and you have some kind of emotional reaction to that. This is something that I've struggled with. If I'm honest, I've got a few people in my life who were in my life that, man, it's hard when I think of them to think good thoughts. It's hard at times to pray for them, although I forced myself to do just that. When I hear good that has come to them, I feel a certain way. I mean, let's be honest about that. Even as followers of Christ, even as Christians, this can happen. But I'm reminded of the Apostle Paul in his first letter to the church of Corinth. Very familiar passage of scripture. But what Paul does here is he outlines what it means to love, what love looks like, and the importance of our need to mimic the love that God has shown for us. Christ is the embodiment of that love. And of course, we're called to be like Christ. So in the first letter, the 13th chapter, I'm going to pull right into this fourth verse where he begins to define what love is. Paul says that love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. When love is absent for us, when we fail to display these kinds of characteristics, it shows up in an ugly way in our heart, in our life, in our relationships. Paul is saying that love is essentially a verb. It's an action, right? It's not abstract. It's really rather concrete. Love is willing to wait on change, to wait on maturity, to wait on God, which is why it's patient, right? It patiently waits. And again, these are not easy things, but these require the power and the Spirit of God to work in us. Love doesn't envy. Neither does it brag or is it arrogant. We're not loving each other if we're envious or if we're bragging about something we have. It's never rude. It's not loving when we are overbearing or rude to one another. And it doesn't force its own way. And it says it doesn't want its own way. It doesn't insist on its own way. And man, that can be hard because sometimes we feel like we have rights and our rights are being impeded upon. But Paul says that it doesn't insist on its own way. And here's one for you. It's not irritated or angered in personal offense. I don't know. But that's what it says, right? How many times have I gotten irritated or angry at someone that I say I love? How many times have you done that? Well, I just want to remind you that holding a grudge is costly. It cost me personally, and it cost the people in my life. And the truth of the matter is, the person that I'm holding a grudge towards, or I'm angry at, or I failed to forgive, has probably moved on from their life and probably forgotten their part, their offense in it. And so, one thing I want to encourage us to is to practice self-evaluation, right? Ask yourself, what part did I play, and how did I contribute to that offense? Don't practice self-victimization, where I look at the offense and all I see is what someone has done to me that makes me the victim. That negative energy that's expended on others, it only drains me. It drains me of my peace. It drains me of my joy. It drains me of my energy, right? And so I have to choose not to surrender my power to grudges. I have to choose not to surrender my mind to holding grudges, but really working to let stuff go. Another thing that we have to be really careful of is bitterness, right? Bitterness is a poison that we take ourselves trying to hurt someone else. And it just completely ruins our day. It ruins our ability to love appropriately. Here's one, and this is hard for us because many of us have been isolated, but isolation, right? There's no joy in being around someone who's always talking about what someone did to them. And every conversation you have with them, they're bringing up some hurt of their past. And listen, I get it. For years, and even today, a flood of emotion will come back over me, and I'll remember something that someone did. But I'm grateful for people in my life, friends, who allow me, one, to share my hurt, but also remind me and encourage me to move forward, to not become a hostage. Difficult. But I appreciate those people in my life. And I'm reminded that all things that are working together very synergistically to help me conform to the image of Christ. And that is a daily, hourly, sometimes minute by minute pursuit. So let's dump our grudges. Let's clean the slate. Let's clean our minds. And let's as Paul says in Philippians 4:8, think on these things. That which is good, that which is lovely, that which is of good report. Don't waste time thinking on your hurt or the people who hurt you. All right? Hey, happy Wednesday. If you're free, join me tonight for our midweek Pastor's Bible study. We're still going through the book of John on Wednesdays, and we're teaching on covenant on Sunday morning. We'd love to have you with us. All right? God bless you, and we'll see you real soon.